Greetings all, FerrariMan601 here. Welcome back to iRacing and welcome back to the Charlotte Roval. What are we doing here today? Well, in the recent review of the Dallara T12 that you have seen, talked about the comparison that car has to the current Indy car, the IR18, and that is a comparison actually that I've done a couple of times already in the past. And at least you've seen one of those. There are a couple more on the way at some different circuits, but I haven't compared it to one of its more, shall we say, contemporary stablemates from Dallara, namely this, the IR05. Now, of course, this is a very different kind of car. It's a lot bigger. It's got a lot more horsepower. It's designed to run road courses and ovals. It's a lot heavier as well. So there are some key differences between the T12 and the IR05 for sure. However, they have also got themselves quite a few similarities, and they are a little bit more than just skin deep. They both have V8 engines. This happens to have a 3.5-liter V8 engine, and it's also got, well, lots of aerodynamics up top as well as down in the under tray. So perhaps these two are going to be a little bit closer than you'd think. So you join me in the midst of making one of these Hotlap comparison videos. And basically, this is how we do it. We try to get the cars as close as possible macrocosmically in terms of the overall setup. Namely, that means making sure that we have got as near to the same fuel load as possible. So you can see here we have got ourselves 6 gallons on board. That's 6 U.S. gallons on board. And hopefully that's going to mean that we try to eliminate as many variables as possible. Of course, there are some that we just can't deal with, such as chassis weight, things like that. But the things that we can control, we try to control them. So 6 gallons of fuel for the IR05, and we'll also get the T12 to as close to 6 gallons as possible. If it's not exactly possible to do 6.0, we'll go slightly higher. We'll go to the next increment higher, so it'll be 6.2, 6.3, whatever, which may even put it at a slight disadvantage. But we have an out lap, and then we do 2 hot laps, and then that is how we do these comparisons. So jump on board with me as we do this, and of course, the proper edit of this, presented diplomatically, will follow this video here in terms of me making it. In terms of how I'll release them, probably be in reverse order. So we've got everything happy. We'll do an out lap, 2 flying laps, and that'll be it. Trying to get the tires up to temperature. Car's a little bit twitchy. Got to get the brakes up as well. One more big stop on this lap, and then that'll be it. In terms of brake temps, they should be okay. Then 2 flyers. Gear. And off we go. A bit wide of that first apex, that's on purpose. So let the road come back to you here on the power. A little bit of understeer as we go over the crest. That corner is so tricky coming onto the banking again out of the infield. It's tighter than you think. The car just wants to wash up to the top of the racetrack, and of course, there's a barrier there. Just bouncing off the rev limiter there on approach to the back straight chicane on the power. $10,300 RPM, it's all she wrote for this engine. I wish we had some more revs. And a lap time. Okay. Let's hit that apex this time on the power. Short shift into fourth. Little breath off the throttle. Fifth, fourth, third. Let the apex come back. There it is on the power. Use all the road there on the exit. Second gear, clip the apex there. Let the car gather itself back up. Back out onto the banking. There we go. That felt slightly better. I don't know if it was. Go back straight. Bouncing off the limiter. Into the curbing. Missed that apex a little bit. Down, keep the car low, down to that blue line. Brakes. Second gear, apex 1, apex 2 on the power. And the lap time, 105.557. Now we bring the car to a stop here. We punch up neutral. And we will shut it down. And there we go. So that's our flying run of 2 laps. And then, of course, here is where the transition would be from the trackside view to the onboard view that you'd see in the master edit of all of this. So at this point, we will record the best lap time for the IR05. I show the last lap here as a 105.557. Was that the quickest? Yes, it in fact was. So the first lap was a 105.599. The second one was a 105.557. So now we will write that down. 105.557 for the IR05, and then that will come in handy later on once we are actually editing the final comparison video sequence. So that'll be good. So that's our benchmark for the T12 to shoot for. The next thing we will do is save this so we can come back and we can capture it in a more diplomatic fashion without any sort of commentary. So, IR05, Roval, comparison. Done. So that's how that's going to work. And next order of business is going to be to do the same for the T12. And now we return with the T12. Same story here. We will get as close to 6 gallons of fuel on board as possible. If we can't dial in exactly 6, we'll go to the next increment up. So as you can see here, we go between 5.9 and 6.6. So yeah, 6.6 is what we will leave the pits with on this run. Puts us at a slight weight disadvantage. But again, in situations like that, we'll bias it toward being heavy rather than being lighter so we can get more representative. And again, to reiterate, our target for this is the IR05 at a 105.557. That's going to be a tall order for this car because doing the review, we're doing pretty consistent times in the 106 range, in mid 106s, low 107s. So it's going to be a bit of an ask to make this car to a 105.5, but we will see how it shakes out, and we'll determine is the IR05 faster than the T12. We will find out. Get everything happy there. Looks good. Do our launch limit. And there we are. We'll get everything up to temperature again. Drag the brakes a little bit through here. DRS is working. Get our big stop on the back straight. That'll get some good temperature in the brakes. There we go. Car low, down to the blue line. Final chicane. And here we go. Let the apex come back to us. There we go. Been in third gear here. Clip the apex. Let the understeer happen. Lots of understeer. Tires are still coming up a little bit. Up to our big stop. First apex, second apex on the throttle. Had a little bit of wheel spin there coming out. Gaining time all the while. Gear. Slightly wide of that first apex. We hit the second one. Okay. Half a second off. On the power DRS. Down by a tenth. Steer all through that corner. Lost a lot of time there. Understeer coming out. That just conspired to lose the sport time. Gain anything here. First apex, second apex on the power. There it is. Well, I think that is going to be our verdict there, and we very gently brushed the wall at the end. But we are not going to be faster than the IR05. It's about a half a second in it in terms of the fastest time in this and the fastest time in that. And just as before, we will go ahead and record the best times between them. So the final lap there was a 106.270, and the first lap there was a 106.061. So that is what we will record here. 106.061 for the T12. So there is our answer. 106.061 for the T12 compared to a 105.557 for the IR05. So two cars that are basically contemporaries of each other. Very similar in many respects. The IR05, though, has about 150 more horsepower than this, though. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe closer to 800 in that car. It feels, pretty close to 800. So, yep, there is your verdict. And, of course, we will go back and we will transcribe all of this later on into some more diplomatic copy. And that'll be the final presentation of the comparison video. And this will follow soon after. And you'll see us going through all of the procedure in terms of doing all of that. So you'll see how we make one of these, which I suppose will be somewhat interesting for all of you, perhaps. So, in other words, I've still got some work to do in terms of all of that, to record the external and onboard replays from these two runs to present to you in that way. But that is generally how we make one of these comparison videos. And of course, it's the same procedure, so on and so forth, as we want to bring more cars into them, whatever. So, yep, that's just how it works, a little bit behind the scenes in terms of how we make one of these. Hopefully, that was interesting and enjoyable for all of you. Until next time, though, Ferrari Man 601 saying thank you very much for watching, and of course, we will see you soon.